Our next guest is one of the most sought-after comedians in South Africa who was discovered at the Smirnoff International Comedy Festival at the Baxter Theatre in Cape Town in October 1998. Now, fast forward to 2018, he's been able to captivate audiences through stand-up shows as well as television and the big screen. Now, this year, he returns once again with his show Blacks Only Joke Appropriation Without Compensation, which will take place at the Ticketpro Dome in Johannesburg and the Cape Town International Convention Center on Tuesday, the 14th of August. Now, in its 15th year, it's set to be the biggest and the boldest Blacks Only show yet. But to tell us more, we joined in studio by David Gao, who is right here. Mr. David Gao, very good morning to you and welcome.
Thank you. Good morning to you too. I didn't know you're now presenting with Kanyim Bao.
Whoa! Shots so fired so early in the morning.
Shot. They look small similarities.
Jeez, man.
Maybe the dad apparently has quite a few.
I saw Ume.
No, I'm serious.
Tell me, are we filling up the dome tonight or not?
We are definitely going to fill up the dome tonight. There's still some few tickets left, but by 8 p.m. when I start the show, 7:30 p.m. Donald is performing surprise act. 10 to 8, Somizi is introducing me. 8 p.m. I'm starting the show. People must be on time. It will be full by the end of the show because 9:30 there's still people arriving. 10 o'clock.
Okay.
Yeah.
So people would have expropriated the venue without compensation.
We want the jokes underneath the land. We don't want the venue. We just want the jokes underneath the land.
That's actually so tongue-in-cheek. Why the title?
Because land appropriation is going to be spoken about for a long time. So when I come up with the next Blacks Only and we think of how we're going to theme it, you always have to think it's like 3-4 months before the show, you know, and will this still be topical? So I reckon when my kids are 40, the ANC or the governing body will still be trying to appropriate land. And so we're going to talk about appropriation for a while.
I see what you did there.
No, but
look, you've been in the industry for quite a while now, and I know
years.
I've been following your shows, and you're one of the most respected
Thank you.
comedians. So what is it about you that makes you such a success story?
I think besides just trying to be funny and making as many people laugh, as many as possible, across whatever color, race, class, I think I've done my best to try and find more and more black comedians in South Africa, particularly. And purely just to say, if people want to perform in whatever language they want to perform in, there's nothing wrong with that, you know. People used to look down on people when they couldn't speak English. Sure. Soccer players would be made fun of back in the days, you know. Today, vernacular-speaking comedians are filling up some of the biggest venues in the country. Right. So, and there's more and more every year. So there's more and more guys who want to be comics. There's more and more people that are realizing English is not the beginning and end of the world. True. You know. They can still go to their mother tongue, which is what for me Blacks Only was. 14 years ago, I had no audience to perform, or black audience to perform to, or to perform the material that I wanted. True. So if you think of when I started 20 years ago, 18 years ago I moved to Joburg, my show was 4,000 white people and I was the only black person there in the whole venue, you know? Yeah. So it's been a long way. And then just, I guess, all the other stuff we've done along the way, you know, the Pure Monati show, you know, from being the first so-called black comic, the first sketch comedy show, Blitz Patrol is like the first action comedy movie in South Africa. So I think we did our homework, we did a lot of work and the groundwork, and the guys can just come now and have some fruits, you know? Sure. Yeah.
You know, I've always been asking most comedians coming to this show that how do you juggle freedom of speech and just plain humor? Because some find it difficult not to ruffle feathers. They actually tread very carefully not to upset certain people. How then do you balance the two?
So for me, in my entire career, rape has always been the one thing I have never and I will never ever joke about. Yeah. The second line that I drew for me was, if I'm making fun of you and you are not laughing, then I probably don't want to make that joke or tell that joke. That way, whatever jokes I tell anywhere in the world, I would still tell if that person was in the room. So I do a thing in some of my shows, you know. I would maybe sometimes joke about President Jacob Zuma. And then some maybe government officials start becoming a bit uncomfortable, and I do a joke, people start laughing inside their jackets. You know? And then I will say to them, I tell these jokes in front of him. I've done some of these jokes when he was there, and he's fine with it, you know. So for me, the line has always been, if I'm gonna make fun of you and people are laughing at you, you should probably be able to laugh at that joke as well.
True. That's actually true.
That's for me anyway.
Yeah.
You know, it's different for a lot of people.
And apart from having hosted such a show for 15 straight years, what would you mark as your highlight of your career?
Definitely, Blacks Only has changed my life. And then for now, for me, after 20 years, I started finding sort of my fans all over the world through social media. You know, I did a show in New York last year at Caroline's on Broadway. Did some shows at the Comedy Cellar. So I performed at Just for Laughs, Montreal, in Montreal, which is the biggest comedy festival in the world. So there's pieces and pieces that I'm kind of putting together to kind of finally arrive at tonight, I guess, and just be like, tonight is going to be the best thing I've ever done with my life, with my 20-year career so far.
And I've been to 3 of those shows, and I'm definitely certain that it's going to be fire.
We've
studied speech and drama at the University of Cape Town. It's quite, it's quite unbelievable for you to have done so. Why didn't you decide to take the comedy route?
So I went from Pretoria Tech. I was doing maths and science the whole year, 1995, bridging to do electrical engineering. And then 1996, I ended up at UCT Drama School. I graduated in 1998.
Okay.
Started studying media studies in 99, but end of 98, I sort of stumbled on this stand-up comedy thing.
Okay.
And I dropped out of varsity in 1999, out of my second degree, 1999. But I stayed until second term because I didn't have a place to stay, and I was staying in Res. So I didn't deregister. But I stopped attending classes because I still needed a place to stay. So then a couple of gigs, you know, moved to like a little cottage, literally a garage with a sink and a shower, you know, in Newlands in Cape Town. And about 2 years later, I moved to Joburg to start working on the Fat Joe show, which I think was probably the first time black people started seeing me. And this was like 2 years into my career.
Okay, now just briefly, I want to put you on the spot for a second. There's this aspiring comedian out there who's watching you right now. He's not funny. He's trying, but he's not funny. How would you advise him?
They need to keep trying. So unfortunately, the only way you find out is in front of an audience.
Okay.
So it's either you go, you try it, it doesn't work, you go away, you rewrite, you come back again, you keep trying, or you can stand there for 10 minutes and have 2 minutes of funny. You go, you do away with the other 8, you come back to the 2 minutes, try and take it to 3 minutes, 5 minutes. But the best thing about stand-up comedy, it doesn't even matter what I think, if the audience thinks you're funny. So they just need to keep going in front of an audience, going on stage, and trying out their material. You know, the only way to find out is literally on stage in front of a live audience.
And the bottom line
is
just
your girlfriend, me, we're not the best measure of whether you're funny or not.
Right. David Gao, let's appropriate those jokes tonight.
Tonight at the Dome, Cape Town, Tuesday. Still a few tickets left. We are going to sell out the Dome, Johannesburg. And then we're going to tour the country, you know, PE, Durban, Bloemfontein, Mangaung.
Good to hear that, man. Thank you so much, and all the best tonight.
Thank you very much, and thanks for having me again.
All right, that was David Gao talking to us about Blacks Only, which will be taking place at the Ticketpro Dome in Johannesburg tonight and in Cape Town on Tuesday. It is at 19 minutes after